Alright, you guys, it's finally here. Just arrived half an hour ago. This is the new, genuine Hyundai Veloster N wing. This is the part number. And today we're going to be installing it on my 2020 Hyundai Veloster Base Premium. So let's see how it turns out. But before we start, a quick inspection. So actually comes pretty well packaged. It's got a lot of bubble wrap. I bought this off eBay. If you just search for Hyundai Veloster N-Wing, it's going to be the first one. They are an authorized Hyundai dealer down in Florida. They're a Hyundai dealer, and they just resell the parts, so they're authorized to do that. This is a genuine wing. I would not recommend the Duraflex wing that are being sold on eBay. They look really cheap, made of like fiberglass or really cheap plastic. You might as well just spend a little extra to get the original one, OEM one. This one did cost me about $400 with shipping included in that price. So the wing itself is being sold for about $265 plus the shipping. So what can we do? It's alright. So let's open it up and see what we got. Alright, so here it is. It's made out of plastic, obviously. I believe the plastic is just naturally black, so I'm not sure if it's like painted after it's created. This is OEM. You got all that stuff there. Certified Korea, and it comes with this wiring harness and the vacuum line, I believe it's called. There it is. This is not the performance wing. This is just the standard N wing. So looks really good. Can't wait to get into it and start this installation. All right, so the first steps, you're gonna have to take this black panel off. You can see that there's a brake here and a brake here. It's gonna reveal, I believe, three 10mm bolts. You're gonna have to take off these two rubber grommets here and here as well. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to take this plastic piece, you can potentially just yank it off. If you want to be more careful, there's gonna be two, feel for it, two insertions where you can put a flathead. I happen to find this super little flathead, so let's see if it works. Just put it on. Alright, so scratch that. By the way, this little thing is a great workspace to use. Easiest way is to just put your fingers through and start pulling it back gently. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, just like that. You're not gonna have broken clips. Remember that this is how it looks from behind, so that when you're pulling, you kind of understand where to pull, where to put your hands closer to, so that you don't end up causing too much stress on these and end up breaking them. So that's the setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those plastic fasteners. So here we go. We're gonna have 1 10mm, 2, 3. We're gonna take these off. In order to take those off, you have a couple options. You can just use a screwdriver with this attachment. I also have a 10mm socket. I would suggest getting a longer one for these, and you'll see why. Alright, so once these are out, you can see that there's a little bit of depth to reach that 10mm. All of these are black, so it's kind of hard to see. There we go. You got 2 here, 3, and 2. So I'm gonna just start unscrewing these slowly, and then we'll get to this wiring situation. Alright, so these two, sorry, focus, and those two are out. I almost had a little heart attack. So when you're unscrewing them, you need to be super careful. Make sure that if, say, you're using one of these, you're allowing gravity to help you sit that bolt on top of it as you pull it out, because you don't want it to be going through this right here. If it goes through here, there's some indentation here to maybe catch it, but actually, you know what? You should be fine if it goes through here, because you can reach it. It's not as deep as I thought, but still, you should be very careful. Of course, you have plenty of chances to drop that bolt, and you definitely don't want to do that. All right, so let's get to these three. 1, 2, 3. Again, I can't recommend using this as a workstation for yourself. You got the rubber grommets and the 10mm bolts there, just as they would show up here. Okay, so now we're going to unclip this, and this hose. As you can see, you're just gonna basically kind of think about how long this is and where it's gonna match up. So that's how I figured it out. And then you're gonna connect this vacuum hose. Okay, so let's try to do that. Wow, this was a pain to take out. So basically how you're gonna do it is this thing, you're gonna have to flex it upwards to pull it out of this. So if you can get your nail in and push it as you pull it, it's gonna be really easy for you. So that might be helpful. Next, we're gonna remove this and this here. Looks like they just are like kind of like push pins. No, push. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're gonna need a little bit of force to come out. I wouldn't recommend trying to pry it out with a flathead, just because I did scratch the paint a little bit. If you don't really care, then go for it. But I'm gonna see if I could find a different solution. So after trying a bunch of different tools, some needle nose, pliers, different sizes, different size flatheads, even this little one, I found that the best tool to actually put in there and pry it out is this bottle opener. I don't know what I would recommend if you don't have this, obviously. This is actually made of plastic, so it doesn't scratch as much. You can see all the carnage that happened with the flatheads. One recommendation I would take is, because these basically expand once they're pushed in, is as you're taking it out, try to push in one side as you're squeezing out the other side, so it comes out easier. So I hope that helps somebody out there. I don't know why I struggled with this so much, because I didn't want to break these clips in case I wanted to resell this. All right, or put it back on in the future. And once those are done, last thing to do is just pull this out. You're gonna have to use a little bit of force. Make sure you put your fingers as close as possible so that you're not ripping anything or damaging anything in the process, okay? So now, if you observe, this is a lot looser. So from what I've researched and saw in some other videos, is there is some 3M tape under. That's something you're gonna have to take off, and then we'll just pull it out and see what we got under. Let's try it. But before we do that, let's admire this one more time. Before we throw this on. you're gonna need a lot of force. What I'm doing is I'm pushing up, and I have my hand under, pushing up like that as well, so that there's less chance for it to break. So I'm going to go ahead and continue and see how it goes. Alright, so you can see under here, I don't know if you can see that line to the end. That's where the tape is. What you should do is grab from both sides. Get from both sides and just start lifting up on both sides. Start wiggling it. Wow, after much wrestling, this is what gave me the biggest problem. So here is where the tape is. There's a grommet where you put the wire. It's very heavy duty. This is tape right here. These are not tapes. This is just foam to create a water barrier or a flush finish. Basically, you're just gonna have two tabs right here. That is the tape, and you can see where it left over. So, lift it up. How it goes. Well, you have your wing. Gonna put it to the side. And here it is. And next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically clean this and try to take this tape off with some Goo Gone and make sure that the new wing has a nice clean surface to it. Alright, so that failed. I'm just gonna leave it basically. I mean, it's still sticky, so I guess it'll help the new wing stick on better. Do be careful when you're pulling it out. I did lift this just a tad bit, and it did strip a little bit of the paint. I don't know if it's not focusing, but just, yeah, you need to be careful. I did put a little bit of clear nail polish over so that it can dry quickly and protect the paint so it doesn't start rusting, if there was even a possibility of it rusting. Okay. So if we look at the bottom of the end wing, you will see these red tabs. These are not lights. These are actually pull tabs for the glue. So hypothetically, if you just line up the glue, it should line up the same as the other wing. Make sure you take this off as well, and then you're gonna mount it straight on top. This is where the wire goes, and these smaller ones are where the I'm sorry, not this. Yeah, this is where the 10mm bolts will go through. Okay, so let's pop it on and go from there. Alright, so it's on. One thing I did figure out was the threads of the new bolts. So you can see here, I'm actually going to use them here. They were covered by these little covers. So I wasn't really understanding why it wasn't sitting well until I realized that you had to pull those out. Alright, so now basically the step is reverse from taking it off. You're gonna put your 3mm bolts back here to there, and you're gonna wire everything up, and I will try to help you around along the way. Alright, once these are all tightened down, I did tighten them by hand. If you have a impact gun, go for it. I don't want to over tighten it because I'm scared of it cracking. Be super careful when you're taking it off, you guys. I just noticed that it did crack. It broke there, and it broke here on these black pieces of the wing. I mean, not a huge big deal, but it is kind of a bummer. I guess it's just the nature of doing things by yourself and not necessarily understanding everything completely before, or just taking it off too hard. So learn from my mistakes, make sure you don't do that. Last thing I need to do is just put all the covers back on You're just gonna push these back in, put the cover on, put these last two, one, and this one's like weird, two, and you're done. Last but not least, you're gonna want to check, make sure, well, you should have probably checked this before you tightened everything down, but the alignment is pretty spot on. And just take everything off now. This is not real carbon fiber, guys. This is just imitation. I'm sure you knew that. But here's the last one. There we go. Probably should have done this before, but I'm gonna test the third brake light now. Dang. Looks good. Looks good. Alright, let me test the third brake light. Forgot to close out the video. There she is. That's how it looks like. Looks super good. I think next on the list is going to be dropping her. Gonna get some lowering springs most likely. Hopefully, and we'll see how that ends up. All right, take care, guys.